Let's unpack this.
Let's do it.
We are diving into a story that is, I mean, it's so foundational to human experience. It basically underpins, well, everything philosophy, religion, all of it.
Story of Adam.
The story of Adam. But if you're expecting, a discussion about dates, ancient history, or a talking snake, that's not what this is.
Not at all.
We have a stack of sources here that just systematically deconstruct this whole story. They treat it not as some historical event in a physical garden, but as a perpetual internal drama playing out inside your consciousness right now.
That's the entire mission, right?
Yes.
The sources present this Adam narrative as a meta-allegory. It's a detailed manual for human cognitive development.
A manual.
A manual that operates within a very precise governance protocol, which the sources call the Dean. So we're trying to move beyond the traditional, the surface level literal story.
Which they call as SIDQ.
Exactly, as SIDQ. And we're trying to extract the core operational truth, the ALHOC.
So we're basically looking for the operating system manual that's been hidden inside the narrative all along.
That's a great way to put it. And the central component of this whole OS is the human cognitive essence itself, which the sources call the NAFs.
This whole deep dive, then, is really a shortcut to understanding how your mind is actually designed to function.
Precisely. Let's start with Adam. Adam himself.
Okay.
In this framework, Adam, or Insan, is not the first human who lived, 6,000 years ago.
Right.
The name is a descriptor. It applies to any human being, you, me, anyone listening, who accepts what's called the taklif,
The assignment.
the assignment of stewardship and learning. The term insan itself actually means divinely guidable man.
Wow. Okay, that immediately changes the stakes. It means when the scripture talks about the assignment of Khalifa,
Stewardship?
right, stewardship of the earth, it's not some historical handover of power.
No.
It's the ongoing moment-by-moment offer of responsibility given to your nafs, the stewardship of your own internal world.
And think about where this drama begins. The garden, Jenna. We have to reframe that too. It's not a physical paradise.
So what is it?
It's a cognitive state. The sources define it as a state of concealed insight. It's a direct, unblocked receptivity to divine guidance, before you introduce all your own cognitive noise and biases.
So it's a state of pure focus, a learning state.
A perfect state of flow.
That makes perfect sense. If you accept the job, the stewardship, you start in a state of flow, completely guided. Okay, so for the technical part, where is this Adam, this learner, actually created?
The creation is also internal. It's cognitive. The sources redefine the scripture itself as the ard.
The earth.
Yes, but here it means the static fixed scriptural units, the rules of a system. Adam, or Insan, was created from tin, which is a mixture of that fixed ard
The rules?
and more, which is the flow of divine guidance. So the guidable man is foundationally built from both the fixed rules and the constant flowing instruction set.
Okay, so if Adam is built from both the rules and the guidance, where does the risk come in? The potential for misalignment. This has to lead us to the internal conflict,
It does.
which has to be the most critical reinterpretation here. Iblis and Shaitan.
This is the absolute key. Iblis is not an external devil. It's not a jinn creature that tempted Adam.
So what is it?
Iblis is the naf's own inherent biases, its flaws, its predilections. It's our cognitive shortcuts, our confirmation biases, our self-serving reasoning. It's all internal.
So Iblis is basically our own built-in faulty reasoning chip.
You could say that. But what's fascinating is that the sources call it the Zaje, the counterpart, or even the spouse of the nafs.
A spouse. That implies it's not a bug. It's a necessary feature of the cognitive architecture. You need that resistance.
You absolutely need it. Think of it as the source of friction that's required for any real growth.
Okay, so where does this flaw come from?
This is crucial. Iblis is described as being made from nar.
Right, which everyone thinks is hellfire.
Everyone does. But in this framework, nar is defined as man-made dim illumination,
Wait, hold on. Man-made dim illumination.
or more simply, rational thinking, RT.
Okay, let's slow down on that. If NAR is just rational thinking, why is that bad? I mean, we need to think rationally to function?
Of course we do. But notice the word dim. Nar is dim illumination. Iblis represents our own limited self-generated logic.
Oh.
Think of Nar not as hellfire, but as relying only on a weak, faulty flashlight that you're shining around. And you're only trusting what you personally can figure out with that little beam of light, ignoring the comprehensive guidance that's already there.
So our biases are literally constructed when we over-rely on our own limited understanding.
That is the mechanism.
That is a profound distinction. So if Iblis is the inherent internal flaw, the bias, what then is shaitan?
Shaitan is the disposition, it's the kinetic error. It's the state you enter when you actively choose that internal bias Iblis over the divine guidance.
So it's a choice.
It's the disposition that actively blocks and obstructs the necessary guidance from entering your cognitive core. It's the wall you build when you rely solely on your own faulty, self-generated understanding. Your nar.
This completely transforms the Adam story. It's not a simple morality tale about obeying one rule anymore. It's a rigorous psychological framework about methodology and self-governance.
And the conflict is intensely personal. It's all internal.
And once you see it that way, I mean, this framework allows you to grasp the breathtaking culmination of the whole system.
Which is the purpose of existence itself.
Exactly. The sources define the entire universe as a linguistic training ground for cognitive evolution.
That's a massive idea, isn't it?
It's huge. It means the universe is the textbook. And the foundational scripture, the Quran, that's the conversation.
Yes. We observe the universe, we look at biology, physics, social dynamics, and from that we extract abstract principles. We use those principles to build a lexicon, language of reality.
And only by learning that language of creation can we really begin to understand the speech of the Creator.
And this learning isn't random. The sources detail a highly structured 7-stage developmental process inside the NAFs for acquiring and integrating knowledge.
Which parallels the process of physical creation in the text.
Exactly. It shows that cognitive development, or CDEV, is meant to be incremental, purposeful, and structural.
Okay, so let's make this real. Say I'm learning a new complex skill, maybe coding, or I'm trying to master a difficult emotional regulation technique. How does this 7-stage cycle apply to me?
Great example. You start with Sula.
The raw idea.
The raw idea, the extract, the initial concept you hear about. It's just potential. It's unrefined. You then progress to Nutfa.
The plausible hypothesis.
Right. This is where you formulate a vision and you say, okay, this might actually work. I can see how to structure this.
And then you move into the intensive application phase, the messy part.
The very messy part. Next is Alaka, a cluster of concepts. You start connecting the dots, you write your first few lines of code, or you see how the technique applies in different emotional states. It's interconnected, but it's not solid yet.
And then Muga, where you're just chewing on it, practicing.
Constantly practicing. And finally, it solidifies.
Right.
It culminates in Izam, the new schema. A solid, bone-like frame of understanding. This is mastery. The idea moves from being external to being a fully integrated, internalized framework you can reliably execute.
So the whole struggle is engineered to force that raw idea through a structured hardening process.
It is. And for any of this to work, the NAVS has 2 primary essential functions that you have to maintain. These are not just rituals. They are operational mandates for the system.
Salat and Zakat.
Exactly. Salat is the process of structured focus. It's how you learn and grow, by continuously connecting to the divine source. It's you receiving operational updates from the system operator, maintaining your system's integrity, and just constantly aligning your focus.
So it's the constant act of self-correction.
Towards the central governance framework, yes. It's the maintenance routine that keeps your NAFs connected and updated.
And Zakat. That's the output.
Zakat is the network function. It's the mandate to help others develop and grow by purifying and sharing the knowledge and resources that have been delegated to you. It's network development.
So if you don't share and apply the knowledge,
it stagnates. It becomes tainted. And your whole system becomes ungoverned.
This brings us back to Iblis and Shaitan. If they're essential parts of the architecture, their presence must be necessary. We're not meant to be perfect from the start.
Absolutely not. The sources describe the NAFs as an uncut diamond.
An uncut diamond.
And the trial, the U.S. area, is just the necessary friction. It's the polishing process.
Okay.
Without the resistance of Iblis, your natural tendency towards self-serving rationalization, you would never develop the structural integrity to hold the al-haq.
That reframes the cognitive struggle, the jihad, in a totally new way. It isn't against some external enemy. It is the internal friction required to align your NAFs. It's the polishing you need to correct the internal flaw, Iblis, and eventually achieve the state of the Abra, the insight holder.
And the reward for adhering to this friction is security. The sources confirm that Iman is not blind faith.
No.
It's redefined as safety and security, which you only get by adhering to the governance process and seeding the result. The system is designed so that challenges are the essential resistance you need to validate your own security.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Moving from this high-level theory to practical, everyday application. Let's talk about how this governance protocol, the DEAN, actually works when we make a choice. You mentioned the Tundra example.
Yes, the Toyota Tundra. This perfectly illustrates the difference between ASID quit truthfulness and ALHOC, the governance truth.
Okay.
ASIG is the surface truth. I really, really want that expensive truck right now. That's the emotional impulse.
That's my Iblis whispering.
Could be. ALHOC is developing the methodological integrity you need to get it responsibly. Through disciplined saving, sticking to a budget. The procedure.
So let's say the desire is overwhelming. My self-generated rationale Iblis is telling me to just take on risky debt to get it now.
Right.
Acid U then becomes the governance of impulse. It's that moment you look at the crash video, the warning sign, and you decide, I will wait. I will follow the procedure. I will not let my desire override the system's logic.
And that choice is the act of ceding authority. You're ceding the authority of your internal kingdom, your mulk, to the divine governance, the Dean.
And the ultimate truth here, the biggest insight from the sources, is that your focus doesn't just find reality.
No. It governs which aspects of reality become visible to you.
Reality is an apparition.
Waiting for a governed command from your nafs.
That is profound. So if reality is an apparition, how does my mind issue that command? Where is the physical interface in my brain?
The sources actually map this directly to the brainstem, specifically to the locus coeruleus, the LC.
The locus coeruleus?
It's a tiny nucleus involved in arousal, attention, vigilance, stress. In this governance model, the LC acts as the physical reality highlighter. It's the interface that your nafs uses to program its commands for attention and focus.
So if my nafs is ungoverned, if I'm constantly choosing my internal biases, Iblis, over the methodology, the Dean or Juno, what happens to that interface?
A faulty command from an ungoverned nafs leads to what the sources call command flickering.
Command flickering.
And this translates directly to physical and psychological instability, anxiety, attention deficit, emotional dysregulation, splitting.
So you're saying if my LC is flickering, that literally means my attention is constantly jumping around, making me feel emotionally unstable, all because I haven't submitted my internal procedure to the higher governance.
It's a direct mechanism for instability.
Exactly.
But a governed nafs, it can issue a stable, high-fidelity command.
And how powerful is that command?
The command is so stable, so aligned with the process, that the sources suggest if that nafs issues the right command and it's accepted, you can transform the apparition, even in a highly theoretical example. Regrow a limb as an apparition in your nafs-centric universe.
Wow.
The power of a stable command is absolute within its given capacity boundary.
And we issue these commands through dua. So dua, which we translate as prayer, is not about begging for an outcome.
It is not. Dua is the nafs realignment. The ultimate example is the opening chapter of the Quran, Al-Fatiha. It only asks for governance and methodology. Guide us to the methodology for self-correction. It doesn't say, give us the outcome.
You're submitting the template for correction to the system operator, asking for the process to heal, not the healing itself.
That is the function.
This entire cyclical understanding, Adam and Iblis, it really is the ultimate manual for our own internal development. The conclusion is inescapable. You are Adam. You are offered the stewardship, the Khalifa of your own consciousness every single day.
And your current limitation, whether that's an illness, a financial struggle, mental confusion, whatever it is, that is simply your capacity boundary, your wusaha.
So it's not a punishment.
It is the meticulously customized incubator designed specifically for your nafs to face the perfect amount of friction it needs to grow.
So what does this all mean for someone listening right now? It means the system guarantees absolute fairness. Like the source says, Allah does not burden a soul beyond its capacity. The trial you are facing right now is perfectly matched to your potential for growth. It is your curriculum.
And the final metaphor to carry with you from all this is this. You are not unstable. You are not addicted. Those are just descriptions. Fundamentally, you are ungoverned.
And your nafs is that uncut diamond.
Exactly. That roughness, that chaos you feel. That is pure potential. It is not pathology. The only true source of your suffering is your choice to resist the necessary polishing friction, the trials that are custom made for you.
So the solution isn't to fight your reality.
Stop asking the apparition, your body, your circumstance, your reality, to change. Submit the template to the governor. Go govern your internal methodology with sovereign awareness, and just watch as your world transforms around that new stable command.